Okay, so today I'm going to be finally making up the mounts. Before I do that, I want to be sure that everything is exactly where I want it. So I'm going to put the steering column back on, and the motor is pretty close to where I want. I think I might move it forward a tiny bit just to, you'll see what I'm talking about under the car, but just to get the column more into that curve of where the headers actually curve into the cat and downpipe, whatever. So gonna be getting everything exactly where I want before I make up the mounts, but let's do that. When you're doing a swap, when there's no swap kit, it's just like, it's like the time wasted is like unbelievable, or what feels like time wasted. Yeah, so most of it is just staring at it. Maybe I'll do this. Nah, that's not gonna work. Maybe I'll try this. Nah, it's not gonna work either. And then eventually coming up with what's gonna work, or try it, find out it don't work, and then realize you wasted a day just to find out something didn't work. So I think I figured out the steering. I got the motor as far as the trans is in the original position, so can't move that. The motor's right pretty much where I want it, as far back as I can get it using the stock headers. I would like to make some new headers, but that'll be a year from now. So let's look at the steering. Alright, so we can see. Alright, so the most important part. Because if I can't turn it, what's the point of putting this giant motor in it? Okay, so you can see where, like, I call it the natural curve, but you know what I mean, the curve of this header. Okay, if you can see what I'm talking about here. So here's one column, the actual knuckle itself, and it can still, I mean, it's a little hard to turn. I'm basically turning both wheels with my fingers. So, like, if you can see, I can still say I can spin without touching. It's very close though. So, but in theory, once this is knocked, that's where the bolt that actually comes through is gonna ride. So you figure this knocks down, that'll give me just the clearance I need, so I won't be having nightmares about this bolt going through there and rubbing on these headers. Maybe I can shave down this heat shield a little more, but we'll see. Oh yeah, I have to make a new line because I smashed it. Going in and out of the motor, going in and out of the car. All right, so back up front. I got it pretty level. So I wanted to make sure it was as good as it can be, and because this is my daily driver and there's nothing wrong with it, so I want it to be as clean and I want it to be as good. I want it to be as good drivability, so trying to get this right. Look at that. Alright, so that's where the motor sits as it is right now, with trans bolted up, and the motor is resting on its own weight. So this is what I was talking about with how tight the steering is and all this going on over here. Alright, so if you look in, these are where those -12s were. These are my 90s coming off. As you can see, it's tight in there. I wish I had better light, but if you can see, it is tight. But my oil should get warmed up fast. Alright, so I just wanted to see what it looked like with the actual fittings on there, the 90s. Here's the banjo. So as you see, it's not a traditional banjo and it doesn't have a hard line. So I can have this going this way. I might even cut this tab off. I haven't decided yet. I don't really have to right now. But maybe if I want to, you know, perfect the angle, blah, blah, blah. I might have to shave this down some. That's the sway bar mount. I didn't like how close it was, but as of right now, it'll do. But, so the plan is either this is gonna go straight down. Well, that was stupid. All right, so let's see, I'm gonna go down, down 30 and back, or see, I don't like it coming straight. I don't like it coming straight back like this. Like this. Because if it's too close to where the sway bar mounts, I'm worried about, first of all, where the sway bar itself is going to be, which I'll get to that in a second. But as the motor flexes, you know, you rev and you get your motor flexing and stuff like that. This isn't going to move like that, obviously. But as the whole motor itself, is going to flex either this way or up and down. Like, you know, if you sit and you rev your car to 4,000, the whole car shakes. That's the whole motor. So I don't want it too close to actually snap the end of this line, so maybe come down. And I just went the whole long way to explain to you why it was just going to go down and start straight back. Alright, so I'm going to get into making these mounts. Gonna remove the pump, remove these 90s. I just wanted to make sure, just wanted to see what it looked like. Alright, so I'll take this off and then I'll get into making the mounts on that side. Over here will be way nicer, way cleaner to actually fab up this mount. Over here you see my block. That's actually what gave me the good angle, the good level. That's all. And, you know, my distance is pretty good. But anyway, so yeah, cut all this stupid stuff. But anyway, I'll take the AC. I'll take the alternator off just to be able to get my hands back there too. Well, there's room for activities in there. For the mounts. Okay, for the mounts. A lot of R&D. I'll show you some of that too. Driver side VQ mount. Driver side VH mount. Close up on the difference. You see how the angles are obviously completely off. 60 degree block versus a 90. But so this is what I was talking about when I was trying to get to work. So it was the spacing between the mount and the frame, mounts and the cross member. Please don't do solid mounts. As a technician, I have to tell you, don't do solid mounts. You'll figure out why if you do solid mounts. So the distance was the problem. I wanted to try to go with the VH just because it was a little bit shorter. This, as you can see, they come with 2 bolts through the cross member. The 2 wouldn't fit, obviously, so I had to just cut one off, and I just want to do that for mock-up purposes. And you can see the difference of not cut, cut. Now what I was running into was this was up against the headers, but the angle was better, it was closer, they are a lot shorter, but it was still too wide. So I remember from another life and another one of my 240s, ISR adjustable mounts. So I'm gonna make these work because it's this like solid polyurethane, but these are what's are adjustable, so you can add or take these out. I have 2 at the bottom, you see 1 at the top, and so the way I have this mocked up is I have a magnet, which is standard. These are Eastwood, but just standard. I'm pretty sure it's Eastwood, who knows? But these are just standard welded magnets, basically just to hold something flush. So I got one back here up against the mount, and then this is Performance VH's, his unwelded mount kit, blah blah blah. So just make sure I got this perfectly where I would like before I take these up. Okay, I can live with that. Ouch. So I'm gonna be using this. I guess I should go back into. Okay, so during 2011, 2012, I was a welding apprentice. So I don't have the professional equipment here because I never needed it. Being a technician, I didn't need a welder, but I have the trusty Chicago Electric that I bought when I was an apprentice, and I usually actually use that to help work and help train myself and become better. So my advice, you don't have the fancy tool, work on the technique and you'll get away with it. Like, this is perfectly capable of welding mounts. You can do a lot more than that. And 2021, I got my money's worth. So why not keep using it till it's done? But I'm gonna go ahead and tack these up and cue up some jazz. solid, and then just having it rest its weight on these two canoes. So I wanted to just to give it some structural rigidity. Connect canoe to canoe, you know what I mean? Alright, so finally, let's weld these mounts.